Hey, okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a review of this Aerotank Mini. Um, Someone had asked me what I thought about it, and I was trying to give it a little bit of a breaking in time to see how I liked it, how it worked. I noticed with some of my other tanks, this is an EVOD style tank on a variable voltage Ego battery. This is a Aspire ETS bottom dual coil tank. Um, I also have just a regular Aerotank and the Aspire Nautilus tank. And then I have a bunch of dripping atomizers. And I would definitely say that with all these tanks, there is a breaking in period, a getting used to period with all the tanks, especially with the tanks that do airflow, that have airflow regulators on them. Just had to kind of get used to which setting, which airflow setting that I liked the tanks to be set at, and what kind of where the airflow was in the tank as far as producing the vape that I was looking for, and they're not all the same. This tank, for instance, this Aerotank Mini, hits better when it's a super tight draw. The Aerotank, the regular Aerotank, hits a little better when the draw is a little looser, and the Aerotank or the Nautilus, I had been there's for those of you familiar with the Nautilus, there's four different size air holes around the base, the ring that is adjusted to give you the airflow that you can regulate on that tank. And then there's just a one-sized hole on the ring, the airflow ring that moves around it, and there's a small hole, a bigger hole, four different grades of holes. And I was using the next to smallest hole on that Nautilus tank, and for about a week, and I've since moved to the smallest hole. So the airflow regulation on all these tanks is just different from tank to tank. To be honest with you, I didn't like this tank to begin with, which is why I was kind of holding off doing a review, because I knew that on some of the other, like for instance on my EVOD style tank, that's a big part of the reason why I went and got all these other tanks, was because that tank wasn't working as well for me as I would have liked it to. It wasn't producing. It wasn't so much of a flavor issue as it was a vapor production issue, and I knew that part of that had to do with the fact that I was using 80%, 70% VG, PG, and that if I wanted more vapor production, that I needed to get my vegetable glycerin, my VG ratio number higher. So most of the juices, I got a box full of juices sitting over here. Most of the juices that I have are 50-50. I do have some 70 VG and some 80 VG. In this Aerotank right now is a 50-50 peaches and cream from Sweet Vapes. So originally I was gonna do sort of like show you what the vape was off of each of these tanks, but then I realized that they have different juices in them. Some of them have different PG VG ratios. Some of them are single coil, some of them are dual coil. They're all bottom coil designs, but there's just too many variables that are different from tank to tank. Not just with the tank construction itself, but with the liquid that's in it. It's not really fair necessarily to do that to this tank. So basically, I could just tell you about my experience with this tank, and that I didn't like it at first. It took a little breaking in. The airflow design on it, the design that they used to create the airflow, I guess, if you will, it seems kind of strange. The Nautilus that thing is rock solid. You know what I mean? You click it to one setting, that's the airflow you get. You click it to another setting, that's the airflow you get. With the Aerotank, the regular size Aerotank, it's I don't like it as much as the Nautilus, as well as the Nautilus. It's a little it seems to be kind of like an all or nothing thing with that tank. In terms of airflow, it's very difficult for me to get it to a point where like that setting is very different than that setting, and then get it to stick there. With this Aerotank Mini, it's similar to that. The main con that I would say about this tank is that the airflow regulating ring that's on here is very susceptible to being moved, to being jostled. I keep this on a lanyard, and when it bounces off my chest, it just moves, and from vape to vape can be different, because the airflow isn't in the same airflow ring on the outside isn't corresponding to the thing that's under it. I drew a little picture for you to maybe, because I could sit here and stick this right up in the camera, where the air hole is, and can spin it and try to show you, but I've already tried it a couple times with these videos, and it doesn't really come out that well. So what I did was I drew this picture. I got to stick my head around so I can see what I'm talking about. But basically, this is the design that's stamped into the metal underneath the ring, the airflow ring that's on that 18 Mini. And just imagine my hand is the edge of the hole that's on that 18 Mini ring, airflow ring. And it, as this moves past the hole, it either has a big section for air to come through, or a little section for air to come through, and it just moves over that stamp that's in the metal. And like I said, it's an interesting design. I actually get it's a little bit more sensitive to the airflow that I want. I seem to be able to set it more to my liking than with that AT, with the regular Aerotank. But to be honest with you, and I certainly do like this tank a lot more now that I've been using it for about a week and a half or whatever. I guess it's gone through a breaking in period. But to be honest with you, as far as small tanks that go on, that are have more of a form factor for the Ego style batteries, the EVOD style tank and the Aspire, this is a bottom dual coil, it's called an ETS. It's a glass tank in here, whereas this one is the MT3 or the EVOD is a plastic tank, and the capacity on the ETS is a little bit more, by about a half mil, somewhere between a half mil and a mil on the MTS or the EVOD style tank. But the drag or the vapor production on those non-airflow tanks, one's a Nautilus or an Aspire tank, and one's a Kanger tank, is just flat out better than this. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a decent tank. It's a pretty solid tank. It's a beautiful design. I like the fact that the drip tip is removable. I mean, obviously you can play with that in terms of aesthetics. It's a solid tank. It's just not. I think one of your concerns was, or one of the concerns that I'd heard voiced about the tank when someone was talking about buying it, was that they were having a hard time justifying the $29.99, the high price of the tank. And to be honest with you, I'm going to agree with that because I want to say for that EVOD style tank, I want to say I paid, it was $6.99, $7.99, $7.99, $8.99, somewhere along those lines. The only thing I would say about those is that I'm having a harder time finding coils for those, whereas the coils for these are plentiful. And I don't know if that's just the places that I've been looking for them, or if they've stopped producing those coils. I don't think they've stopped producing them because I still see those MT3 and EVOD style tanks every time I go to all the B&M shops, the brick and mortar shops I go to here in Lafayette. So so basically, I guess my review of this would be that it is a beautiful tank. I like the fact that it has the glass as opposed to the plastic, because of the etching and the problems that you have with certain juices in plastic tanks. You certainly having the advantage of having a glass tank that's not going to be susceptible to those problems. I would have to say that it's better looking than the EVOD tank and my Aspire ETS. I actually have a David Mini here somewhere that I still haven't filled because I don't have the needle. I'm getting some Lugerlock needles, a 20 gauge Lugerlock needle. I think it's a 1 mil or 2 mil or 3 mil body with a 20 gauge needle to do some tank filling, because on this tank you can drip with the bottle that the e-juice comes in if you go slowly down the side, but I still generally get leakage through this tank, through the center shaft. When I'm filling with e-liquid, I feel the needle will help with that. And then the David, I just absolutely can't get juice in there without that needle. So I still haven't used that tank. So I guess what I would say is, overall, it's a pretty tank. It's a beautiful looking tank. Having the advantage of playing with the tip, I don't think that justifies the $29.99 price, and I really don't think that the airflow regulation feature is worth it either, unless you're the type of person who finds that they're constantly getting these other tanks, these let's say for instance an MT3 tank or an EVOD style tank, and you're constantly drilling the air holes out because the draw is too tight. Then I would say maybe that this would be a good answer for you. But I tend to like my drag, my draw, my hit a little on the tight side anyway. And those MT3 EVOD and that ETS, that Aspire ETS tank is more or less perfect for me. The ETS is a little airy, in my opinion, but not bad enough to the point where I don't use it. And then that EVOD style, I keep calling it EVOD style tank because it's a knockoff. So, but that EVOD style tank is, in my opinion, hits just as well as any other tank I have except for the Nautilus. So I hope that was helpful. And if you have any questions, feel free to PM me or to ask in the thread that this gets posted. And actually, I think I'm going to post it in a PM that you and I have been doing back and forth. But yeah, I hope this was helpful. I hope it was informative, and I'm glad I had a chance to do it because I've never done the video thing. This is the first time I've had webcams on computers before and laptops. I've never used them for Skype or anything for making videos. So I appreciate you watching, Charlie, and have a good day.